It was a regular night. The road stretched on endlessly in front of me, the only sounds being the hum of my truck's engine and the occasional click of my turn signal. I've driven these roads 100 times before. Nothing too unusual, but something felt off that night. You know that feeling you get in the pit of your stomach when something just doesn't feel right. I tried to brush it off, keep my eyes on the road, but deep down, I couldn't shake the sense that I wasn't alone. I'd been on the road for hours, heading through some of the loneliest stretches of highway when it first happened. The headlights. At first I thought it was just another trucker passing me by, but as the lights got closer, something didn't sit well with me. The truck itself, it was different. Old, too old. The kind of truck you don't see on the road anymore, especially not at night. And that's when I started to feel it, like I was being watched, followed even. Ever had a feeling like that? You look in the rear view, and something's there, but when you blink, it's gone, just like that. At first I told myself it was just the darkness playing tricks on me, but then I realized this was no ordinary encounter. This wasn't just some random trucker on the road. Something about him, something about that truck just didn't make sense. And trust me, I soon realized I couldn't ignore that feeling any longer. That it was one of those nights that felt like it would never end. The highway stretched on forever, empty as far as the eye could see. The engine of my truck hummed like it always did, a constant companion on these lonely stretches of road. The only sound was the occasional flicker of my headlights cutting through the dark, the dull thud of tires against asphalt. It was quiet, too quiet. I've driven this route hundreds of times, so I should have been used to the isolation. But there's a certain stillness to the night that gets under your skin, especially when you're the only one on the road. The fog started rolling in, thick, heavy, and cold. The kind of fog that makes it impossible to see more than a few feet ahead. And then that's when I saw it. In the distance, just beyond the haze, a pair of headlights appeared. Slowly at first, like any other trucker, making their way down the road. But as the lights drew closer, something caught my attention. The truck was strange. It looked old, worn, like it had been around for decades. Rusted metal, chipped paint. It didn't belong on this road. Not now. As it pulled up beside me, I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I tried to brush it off. Maybe it was just an old rig, I told myself. But there was something about it, the way it moved too smoothly, too quietly, for a truck so battered. It passed me like I was standing still, and for a second, I thought I could hear the sound of tires that didn't belong to this world. And just like that, it was gone. The fog swallowed it up, leaving me alone once again. But the feeling stayed with me. Something about that truck, about the driver. It wasn't right. And deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had just seen something I wasn't meant to see. At first I tried to tell myself it was all just my mind playing tricks. The road's long, the hours are late, and driving alone through the dark can make you see things. But then it happened again. I glanced into my rearview mirror, and there it was. The truck, the same headlights, the same old rig there. It had appeared out of nowhere, tailing me like it had been behind me the entire time. My pulse quickened. I checked again, but when I looked back, nothing. Gone. Like smoke in the wind. I shook my head, trying to focus on the road. Maybe I was just tired, but the unease wouldn't leave. I tried to push it down, to ignore it, but the feeling grew stronger. Something wasn't right. It felt like the air around me had thickened, like I was being watched. A few miles later, there it was again. This time, the truck was parked on the side of the highway, just sitting there unmoving. No headlights, no engine sound, just an old truck parked under the oppressive silence of the night. I slowed down, wondering if I should stop, maybe offer a hand if the driver was in trouble. But when I pulled up, my heart sank. No one was there. No sign of life, no movement, no footsteps on the road. Just the eerie, unsettling silence of the empty highway. It was as if the truck had been abandoned in the middle of nowhere. I sat there for a long moment, just staring at it. I don't know why, but I felt compelled to get closer. Maybe it was curiosity, or maybe something else. But before I could make a move, I blinked. And when I opened my eyes again, the truck was gone, vanished, like it had never been there at all. My hands gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. I glanced around, trying to make sense of it. Was I seeing things? Had I imagined it all, or was I witnessing something I wasn't supposed to see? The highway stretched out before me, empty as ever. But the strange feeling, it didn't go away. It only deepened. I decided to call it a night, but the bizarre events didn't. The next morning, I heard a chilling rumor at the truck stop. That truck I saw, it wasn't just any trucker. It was the ghost of a driver who died on that very stretch of highway years ago. The exact spot where I saw him was where he crashed. And now he's said to haunt the road, seeking someone to replace him. Was I really just driving down a haunted highway? I was left with more questions than answers, and the fear was starting to settle in. I tried to shake it off. It had to be exhaustion. Right, a long night on the road, and too many hours staring at the same stretch of asphalt. But the unease stayed with me, like an itch I couldn't scratch. I couldn't focus. I had to stop for fuel and take a break, maybe get my mind off what I'd seen the night before. So I pulled into the truck stop, just past dawn. The place was empty, save for a few drivers having their morning coffee. I tried to keep to myself, but a couple of guys started talking about the stretch of highway I'd just come from. I didn't think much of it, until one of them mentioned the trucker's ghost. Some nights, you can still see him, the driver said with a half laugh. That truck you saw, it wasn't just any trucker. You're not the first to run into him. My stomach dropped. He died there, years ago, right where you saw him, by that bend in the road, crashed in his rig. And well, it didn't end well. The ghost of that driver's been haunting that stretch ever since, looking for someone to replace him. It's like he's stuck forever driving that old truck. I was stunned. Was this a joke? Some kind of weird story truckers tell to pass the time? I wanted to laugh it off, but there was something in his eyes, something that told me he wasn't joking. The more I listened, the more pieces started to fall into place. The trucker I saw, the rusted rig, the eerie silence. That place, it wasn't just another lonely stretch of road. It was a place where someone was trapped, and I was left with one terrifying thought. Was I just a part of his curse, or had I narrowly escaped it? I didn't know what to think anymore. The fear crept into my chest, cold and tight. I drove down that highway the night before, not knowing that I had crossed into a place where the dead still lingered. And now, I wasn't sure if I had escaped, or if he was still out there, looking for me. The question that lingered in my mind was simple. Was I driving down a haunted highway, or had I just seen something no one was meant to see? I told myself it couldn't happen again, that whatever I saw, whatever I felt, maybe it was just a bad dream, or a trick of the road. But it wasn't. I was driving late that night, alone again, just trying to get from point A to point B. The road was empty, but I could feel it, that familiar, unsettling presence. The headlights appeared in my rearview mirror once more, but this time, something was different. The lights were brighter, piercing, blinding. I tried to focus, my eyes squinting through the darkness, and that's when I saw him, a figure in the driver's seat. His face was obscured, but I could feel his eyes on me, cold, empty and unblinking. I froze for a second, staring at the silhouette through the haze. My hands gripped the steering wheel, my breath caught in my chest. This wasn't a coincidence anymore. I slammed my foot on the brakes, hoping to slow down, hoping to escape, but the truck didn't respond. The brakes, they wouldn't work. My truck was accelerating on its own, heading straight toward that trucker's rig. It felt like someone was pulling the wheel, guiding me towards him. My heart hammered in my chest as panic set in. The truck's headlights grew larger, closer, and I knew I couldn't stop. The weight of the moment crashed down on me like a tidal wave. This wasn't just some bad luck. It was as if the dead driver himself was reaching out, trying to drag me into his world. I could hear the engine screaming beneath me, my fingers numb from the tight grip, but I couldn't fight it. The distance between us closed quickly, and I realized I was going to hit him. The figure in the driver's seat remained still, watching me, waiting. I braced for impact, but just as I thought I'd collide with him, everything stopped. My truck jerked, and suddenly I was thrown forward. The trucker's rig, his blinding headlights, was gone, as if it had never been there. My truck slowed to a halt. Everything was silent, but as I sat there, heart still racing, I realized something far worse than the crash had just happened. I hadn't hit him, I had merely become him. I thought that was it. I thought I had hit the point of no return, but somehow I managed to regain control of the truck. My foot slammed on the brakes, and the truck jolted forward, breaking free from whatever grip had been pulling me. I don't even know how I did it. When I looked back, expecting to see the trucker's rig right behind me, it was gone. The highway stretched out, silent and empty, as if nothing had happened at all. No headlights, no shadowy figure, just the road, dark and still, with only my heart beating in my ears. Was it real? Did I narrowly escape a supernatural fate, or was it all just some kind of twisted hallucination? But even now, as I drive through these long, lonely stretches of highway, I can't shake the feeling that I'm being watched. Some nights, when I'm driving alone, I swear I still see those headlights in the distance, just over the horizon. I try to tell myself it's just another truck, but deep down, I know better. Am I safe, or is that haunted trucker still out there, waiting for his next victim? I don't know, but part of me wonders if this is far from over. What do you think happened to me? Do you think I really escaped? Or is he still following me? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you subscribe. Something tells me this isn't the last time I'll be seeing those headlights. Imagine driving down a deserted highway late at night. The engine hums softly, the only sound breaking the silence of the empty road. The moonlight barely cuts through the thick darkness ahead of me. Everything feels eerily quiet, too quiet. But then, something starts to feel wrong. At first, it's subtle, just a little off. The shadows on the side of the road seem to stretch too long. Or maybe it's the way the wind is whispering through the trees. I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. It was as if I was being watched. Is it just my mind playing tricks on me? Or is there something sinister lurking in the shadows? That night, I found myself trapped on a haunted highway. The kind of highway that people talk about, but you never believe until it happens to you. And let me tell you, what happened next is something I'll never forget. But before I continue, let me ask you this. Have you ever had that feeling, that sense that you were being followed, even when you were completely alone? Stay tuned, because what I'm about to tell you may just send chills down your spine. It was a typical long drive, just me and the endless stretch of road ahead. The kind of drive you take when you're trying to escape, or maybe just to clear your head. The headlights of my car illuminated the pavement, casting long shadows in front of me, but everything felt strangely empty, like I was the only one alive in this vast world. The highway, stretching far and wide, was isolated, miles and miles of nothing but darkness. No streetlights, no signs of civilization, just the quiet hum of the engine and the occasional rustle of the wind outside. As I drove deeper into the night, that's when I started noticing something strange. It was subtle at first, easy to brush off. The trees along the side of the road, they seemed to be leaning in closer, almost as if they were inching toward my car. It was unsettling, but I told myself it was just the wind, or maybe my tired eyes playing tricks on me. But the feeling of being watched began to grow. The air felt thick, like it was pressing against the windows. The wind, usually a soft breeze, started to whisper unsettlingly, brushing against the sides of the car with an eerie force. And then the headlights began to flicker. At first, I thought it was just a malfunction. I quickly adjusted the switch, but it happened again. The lights blinked, casting everything into a sudden, unnatural darkness. and then they flashed back on. But that wasn't the worst of it. I saw something that made my blood run cold. A shadow darted across the road ahead of me. I slammed on the brakes, my heart racing. I checked the rearview mirror. Nothing there. I glanced to the side. Empty. Nothing moving. But I could feel it. That undeniable sensation that I wasn't alone. That something was there, just out of sight, lurking in the shadow. The night grew darker, and the highway began to feel less like a road and more like a maze. The winding curves and endless turns made me feel trapped, like there was no way out. The feeling of dread grew heavier with each passing mile. I could feel my heart pounding, and every instinct told me to turn around. But for some reason, I couldn't. I was stuck, and the road ahead seemed to stretch on forever, pulling me deeper into the unknown. By the time an hour had passed, I started to feel it, that overwhelming sensation of being trapped. The road, which had seemed so endless just moments ago, now felt like a maze, pulling me deeper with no escape in sight. I kept glancing at the rearview mirror, half expecting to see something behind me, but there was nothing. The only thing I could focus on was the empty stretch of highway ahead, and the growing unease crawling up my spine. I glanced at my GPS to see how far I'd gone. It was the only thing that could give me a sense of direction. But then it happened. The screen flickered, and the map disappeared. All I saw was a blank screen. I tapped it, trying to get it to work again, but it wouldn't respond. Panic began to bubble inside me. I tried restarting it, but it stayed frozen. No roads, no direction, just a void. I had no idea where I was anymore. I reached for my phone, desperate to call someone. Maybe I could get some help, or at least talk to someone who could calm me down. But as soon as I dialed a number, the call dropped. I tried again and again. Each time the line went dead, and the feeling of isolation only grew stronger. And that's when I heard it. A faint tapping on the car window. At first, I thought it was just the wind, maybe a twig scraping against the glass. But it came again, this time louder. Tap, tap, tap. My heart skipped a beat. I glanced to the side, quickly checking the dark road outside. Nothing. There was no one, no animal, nothing. The tapping stopped for a moment, but just as I started to calm down, the radio came on, static at first, like it was trying to find a signal. Then through the static I heard a voice. It was faint, like a whisper, but unmistakable. Turn back. The words sent a chill through me, and I froze. I couldn't move. The voice lingered in the air, hanging heavy with something sinister. I looked around, but there was no one. The radio was silent again, but the fear remained. I was not alone. Something was out there, watching, waiting, and it was telling me to leave, but I could. At this point, I was sure I was losing my mind. Nothing made sense anymore. The fear, the isolation, it was all too much. My heart was racing, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being led into something dark. But then, I saw, in the distance, standing in the middle of the road, was a figure. At first, I thought it was just a trick of the light, or maybe my eyes playing games with me. But as I got closer, I realized it wasn't. A cold wave of terror swept over me. There, in the center of the highway, was someone, or something standing still, its back turned to me. I slammed on the brakes, my tires screeching against the asphalt, but the figure didn't move. It stayed frozen, like it was waiting for. My hands gripped the steering wheel tightly as I tried to steady my breath, but nothing could calm the panic rising inside me. I honked the horn, hoping to get some reaction. Maybe it was just a person who had broken down, or maybe they were just lost, but there was no response. The figure didn't budge. It was as if it hadn't heard me at all. My heart was pounding so hard, I could barely hear the sound of the horn, but I kept it pressed, desperate for any sign of life. I inched the car forward, not knowing what to expect. The figure remained motionless, its back still turned. As I got closer, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I was almost at arm's reach, when, without warning, the figure slowly turned around. My breath caught in my throat. It wasn't a person. It couldn't be. The figure's face was covered in a dark, tattered cloth, but what really made my stomach drop was its eyes. No human eyes, Just black, hollow voids, where eyes should have been. It was as if it had no soul, just emptiness. The face was grotesque, the skin stretched tight and weathered. Its clothes, torn and filthy, hung off its body like rags. I froze. For a moment I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. The figure didn't speak. It just stood there, staring at me with those empty eyes, unblinking, unfeeling. I wanted to look away, to scream, but I couldn't tear my gaze from it. It was like a force was holding me in place. And then it took a step forward. The moment it moved, I was snapped out of my trance. My foot slammed on the gas pedal, and I sped away without thinking, my heart racing. I glanced in the rearview mirror, expecting to see the figure chasing me, but it was gone. The road behind me was empty, but I knew it wasn't over. That figure, whatever it was still out there, waiting. Panic. Pure panic. My heart was pounding in my chest as I slammed my foot down on the gas pedal, desperately trying to outrun whatever nightmare was chasing me. But no matter how fast I went, the road just seemed to stretch on, endless and dark. The headlights barely cut through the thick blackness in front of me, and I swear, every time I looked back in the rearview mirror, the figure was closer, its shadow growing larger, more menacing. I could hear its breath, a ragged, wheezing sound, growing louder and closer with every passing second. The more I tried to speed away, the more it felt like my car had a mind of its own. It was as if the steering wheel was moving by itself, jerking to one side. The engine roared, but it felt out of control, like it was pushing me forward faster and faster. I couldn't even focus on the road anymore. I was just holding on, my hands shaking, my breath shallow, my mind spiraling into chaos. And then, without warning, it happened. My car swerved sharply to the right, sending me crashing off the road. I tried to regain control, but it was too late. The wheels hit gravel, and I felt the car lurch forward into the unknown. My heart skipped a beat as the car spun out of control, plunging into the pitch-black darkness that surrounded me. The engine stalled, and suddenly, everything went quiet. The deafening roar of the car's engine was replaced by an eerie stillness. All I could hear was the pounding of my heart, my own breath echoing in the small confines of the car. The lights flickered, and I was trapped in a complete void. And that's when I saw it, the figure. It had somehow caught up with me. There it was, standing at my window, its tattered clothes swaying in the wind. Its face was still hidden, but I could feel its presence. The air around me was thick with dread. The figure's hand, pale and decayed, slowly reached for the car window. My body went cold. I could feel its breath against the glass, like a freezing chill creeping through the car. I had to get out. I had to move. I couldn't stay here, not with it so close. But I couldn't. My limbs wouldn't respond. My body was frozen in place, as if an invisible force had taken control of me. The figure's hand pressed against the glass, its fingers curling like claws, tapping at the window. I wanted to scream, to fight back, but the fear held me there, paralyzed. My mind screamed for me to run, to do anything, but my body was useless. The figure's presence was suffocating, closing in around me, and I knew deep down that I had only seconds before it reached inside. The figure's hand brushed against my skin, cold. I had never felt anything like it before, a biting, unnatural cold that seemed to seep into my bones. It wasn't just the chill of the night. It felt as though the very air around me had frozen. My breath caught in my throat. I tried to scream, to fight, but the words didn't come. The wind howled around me, muffling any sound I tried to make. It was like my voice had been stolen by the darkness itself. I felt the figure's presence press against me, and my body tensed. I was paralyzed, unable to move, unable to escape. The headlights of my car flickered once, twice, and then everything went black. The next thing I knew, I was awake. I opened my eyes, and I found myself right back on that same highway. Just like before, the car was intact, But the world around me, it was wrong. It was as if the entire world had shifted, or maybe even stopped. The road stretched endlessly before me, but the air was thick with something I couldn't explain. There were no sounds, no signs of life. Everything was still, too still. The trees along the road seemed to be frozen in time, their branches unmoving. And the sky, it wasn't the same sky I had seen before. It was darker, more oppressive. I couldn't tell if it was day or night. I couldn't even tell if time had passed at all. Had it all been a nightmare, or was I still trapped in whatever nightmare I had stumbled into? My mind raced, trying to make sense of it, but nothing made sense. I could feel it in my gut. Something was horribly wrong. Was I stuck here forever, or had I simply escaped one trap for another? What happened that night? The figure, the voice, the endless road. And why was I back here? What if I'm not the only one who's trapped? If you've ever experienced something like this, or if you think you might know what's really going on, let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss what happens next. I'm not sure if I'm still in this world, or if it's just waiting for me to slip up again. You're driving alone, late at night, the highway stretching endlessly before you. The clock reads 3 a.m., and the world is silent. The only sound is the steady hum of your truck's engine, a rhythmic background to the vast emptiness around you. The wind howls, but everything else feels oddly still, too still. You glance at the rearview mirror, but there's nothing. Not a car in sight, just the open road and the thick darkness swallowing everything around you. But then you hear it, a soft thud. Your heart skips a beat. You look around, nothing, just the shadows. Maybe it's the wind, or was it something else? You shake it off, but the unease creeps in, gnawing at your thoughts. Is it just your imagination running wild, or is there something far darker hiding in the silence? Something that's been waiting for you. Trust me, you won't look at those lonely highways the same way again after hearing this story. So sit back, buckle up, because what you're about to hear isn't for the faint of heart. Engagement prompt. Ever had a strange encounter on a late night drive? Maybe something that made you question if you were really alone out there? Share your experiences below. I want to hear about your creepy encounters on the road. Don's been on the road for years. He's seen it all. He's driven through snowstorms, been caught in fog so thick he couldn't see his own headlights, and even made it through the occasional late-night hitchhiker scare. But tonight, this stretch of highway in the Midwest feels different. The clock on his dashboard glows 2:45 a.m., and the road seems endless. No signs of life, no lights in the distance, just him, his rig, and the vast, silent emptiness. The only sound is the hum of his truck's engine, steady and monotonous, like a heartbeat in the dark. He glances at his mirrors, but the road behind him is completely empty. No headlights, no taillights, nothing. He turns the radio dial, a few static-filled stations before the eerie silence fills the cabin once more. The crackling sound fills the space like a distant whisper, unnerving him. Flicker. The headlights blink, not a lot, but enough to make John furrow his brow. Maybe the bulbs are going out. He presses the button to adjust the brightness, but they flicker again. Then the air shifts, colder. His hands tighten on the wheel. John tries to shake it off. Maybe it's just the exhaustion kicking in. Maybe it's just the isolation of the road playing tricks on him. But then he hears it, a soft, almost imperceptible tapping against the window, like fingers dragging across glass. His heart races. He's been on this road before and there's never anyone out here. So who or what could it be? Have you ever felt that strange, unsettling feeling that someone is watching you, or even heard something when you were completely alone? Drop a comment below if you've had that eerie presence on the road. I want to hear your stories. He blinks hard, trying to shake off the fatigue, but it's like the very darkness around him is pushing in, smothering him. He passes by a sign, another stretch of road, miles of nothingness ahead. But then something catches his eye. A shadow darts across the road, fast. He slams his foot on the brake, but it's gone before he can even react. No trace, no sign of what it could have been. He looks around, scanning the edges of the highway, but there's nothing but blackness. Shaken, he reaches for his GPS to check his route. The screen flickers, static crawling across the display. It's not unusual for the signal to drop out here, but this is different. The coordinates blink back at him. Random numbers, places he's never heard of, leading him farther into the wilderness. He taps the screen to refresh it, but the glitch doesn't stop. It only grows worse. Thud. A soft, almost imperceptible knock comes from the door. John freezes. He turns his head sharply. Nothing. He glances at the side mirror. No one. No car. Just him. Alone in the dark. On this endless stretch of road. The silence returns, and then it feels thicker, heavier. The air grows dense, like something's in it. Something just waiting. The temperature drops, and for the first time in his life, John feels truly alone. He can't shake the feeling that something is watching. His hands tighten on the wheel, and he takes a shaky breath, trying to calm himself. But the strange occurrences keep mounting, relentless, as though the road itself is playing tricks on him, pushing him further and further into the unknown. John's grip tightens on the wheel, as the unease starts to grow into full-blown panic. He's been on this road too long now. The weirdness, the cold air, the phantom taps on his truck. It's all too much. The feeling of being watched, the strange flickers in the dark. It's like something's hunting him, just waiting for the right moment. That moment comes suddenly. He glances at the passenger seat. For a split second, he thinks he's seeing things. But no, there's definitely someone there. A man, pale, gaunt, ragged clothes hanging from his thin frame. His eyes hollow, empty. The kind of eyes that you only see in nightmares. The kind that stare through you, into you. The kind of eyes that freeze you in place, making your heart race, making every breath feel like it could be your last. John's heart slams against his chest. His throat tightens, and he opens his mouth, but no sound comes out. He stares at the man, terrified. The air is frigid now, colder than it's ever been, and the man doesn't move, just stares at him. The truck's headlights flicker as if struggling to stay on, and the radio crackles again, filled with nothing but static. Before John can even process what's happening, the figure vanishes, as if it was never there. No trace, nothing. The chill lingers, settling in the cabin like a frost. John shivers, his whole body frozen in fear. His mind races. What the hell was that? Was it real? Was it all in his head? But he knows, it felt real, far too real. This wasn't just some lost hitchhiker, someone in need of a ride. This was something far darker, something tied to this road, this place, a sinister presence that had been waiting for him. And now he's not alone. The truck lurches forward, the engine sputtering as if it's losing power. John grips the steering wheel tighter, trying to maintain control, but the truck's movements feel wrong. The wheel jerks beneath his hands, as though it's being pulled in different directions by some invisible force. His heart races, and his mind is in a panic. This isn't just a mechanical failure. No, this feels like something more, something far worse. Out of the corner of his eye, he notices headlights in the rearview mirror. A car, but it's moving too fast. He barely has time to react before the vehicle is right behind him, its high beams blinding him. He tries to speed up, but the truck is barely responding, struggling to move as the car stays on his tail, never giving up ground. John's breath quickens. He slams his foot down on the gas, but the car is relentless. It's always there, inches away from his bumper, no matter how fast he drives, no matter how many twists and turns he makes. Every time he checks the rear view, the car is closer. It's almost like it's toying with it. Then, without warning, the figure appears again, the man with hollow eyes, now seated in the passenger seat, his face twisted in a grimace. His gaze locks onto John, a malevolent smile curling at the edges of his mouth. John's mind spins, his heart thudding in his chest. This isn't just some ghost or trick of the mind. This thing is real, and it's hunting him. With the car still hot on his trail, and the figure now right next to him, John knows he has one last chance. His options are running out, and the road ahead seems endless. There's nowhere to go, no escape, but he has to do something, anything, to survive. His thoughts race as the truck shudders again, the steering wheel pulling to one side, and the car behind him speeds up even more. John slams the wheel to the left, veering off the road, hoping to shake the nightmare chasing him. John's truck finally comes to a halt, the engine sputtering out, as if it's completely drained. The headlights flicker once more before going dark, and the oppressive silence that follows is deafening. He looks out the windshield, his heart pounding in his chest. The road ahead is pitch black, endless, empty, nothing but shadows stretching into oblivion. His GPS, still a mess of static, the coordinates nothing but random gibberish. It's like the device itself is just as lost as he is. The phantom passenger is gone, the man with hollow eyes gone, but the chilling cold remains, as if that presence still lingers in the air around him. John's breath comes in shallow gasps as he stares at the darkness before him, his mind racing. Is he safe, or is he now trapped in some kind of twisted nightmare, forever part of the road's dark history? The truck's engine shuts off completely, leaving only the sound of John's ragged breathing to fill the cabin. A sense of dread seeps into his bones. He doesn't know what's real anymore. What was all of that? Was it a haunting, a figment of his exhausted, or is there something far darker going on with this highway? John doesn't know, but there's one thing he's certain of. He's not the only one. The worst part, he's heard stories from other truckers who've driven this very stretch of road. They've seen it too, the same figure, the same feeling of being watched, the same nightmares, and they say, he's still out there, waiting. What do you think happened to John? Is this just a twisted story, or could something truly supernatural be happening here? Could this story be true? Drop your theories in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more chilling trucker tales that will keep you up at night. Have you ever felt the cold breath of something watching you? Something that doesn't belong on this earth? It's a feeling that sends chills up your spine, leaving you questioning whether you're alone, or if something is lurking in the shadows, just beyond your reach. Now imagine you're driving down a lonely, desolate highway, stretching endlessly into the night. The only sound is the hum of your tires on the asphalt, and the only light is from your headlights cutting through the dark. But there's something wrong with this road, something you can't quite explain. This highway, infamous for its strange, ghostly happenings, has drawn countless drivers into its grip. People have disappeared. Others claim they've seen figures that shouldn't exist, heard voices that have no source. But what if you were the next to encounter its horrors? Stay with me, because tonight, I'm going to take you down this haunted highway, and trust me, you won't want to be the one driving. As the clock ticks past midnight, our traveler is alone, driving on a stretch of highway that seems to go on forever. This road, unfamiliar and desolate, winds its way through darkness, far from any signs of life. The only company? The steady hum of the tires as they roll across the asphalt. The silence is so thick, it feels suffocating. You know that feeling, when the air around you feels too still, too heavy? Well, that's exactly what this traveler felt. No birds, no animals, just the quiet. The kind of quiet that makes you feel like you're the last person on earth, like everything else has vanished. The headlights flicker over the road, and for a brief moment, they reveal something, a shadow at the edge of the trees. At first it could be nothing, but as the car passes, there's a second flicker, this time something more, a figure standing in the distance, barely visible but still there. They blink, and it's gone. But the unease is undeniable. It's almost as if the shadows themselves are watching, moving, waiting. The traveler presses on, but the road, it doesn't seem to end. It's like the road is stretching further, the signs growing farther apart. What's happening? Why can't they escape? The deeper they go, the stranger the road becomes, as if it's alive, twisting, shifting, unwilling to let them go. But they have no choice but to keep driving, right into the heart of whatever waits. As the car moves deeper into the night, things start to get strange. At first, it's nothing more than a chill that rolls over the traveler, as if the temperature suddenly dropped by 10 degrees. The warmth from the heater is gone, replaced by an oppressive cold. The windows are up, but it feels like the wind is pushing against them, seeping in from somewhere. Unnatural. But then they hear it, a low murmur, a whisper, floating through the car, soft, unintelligible, the kind of voice that seems to come from far away, but still it lingers, getting closer. It sounds like it's carried by the wind, but it's not the wind. Something else is speaking to them, something they can't see. The whispers grow louder with every mile, each word almost within reach, but just out of understanding. The car's headlights flash across the road, and in the distance, someone stands just beyond the beam of light. The traveler blinks, but when they look again, there's nothing there. A wave of unease washes over them, and their heart begins to race. The road itself seems to twist and turn in unnatural ways, as if it's reshaping itself. They look into the rearview mirror, and there, just for a split second, is a figure standing in the road, faint, blurred, but undeniably there. They turn quickly, but when they look back, it's gone. Just gone. Did they imagine it? Or was something following them? Their pulse quickened. The whispers have become a constant presence now, and with every mile it feels like something is getting closer. What is it? Who is it? And why won't it leave them alone? For a moment it feels like the nightmare is over, but out of nowhere, out of the darkness, a figure materializes directly in front of the car. No warning, no sound, just a pale, ghostly shape appearing in the headlights. There's no time to react. The traveler slams the brakes, swerving violently to avoid the figure. The car spins, tires screeching, and before they know it, crash. The world goes black. When they regain consciousness, they're disoriented, shaken, and lying in the wrecked car. The eerie silence returns, heavier now, more oppressive than ever. The traveler stumbles out, still dizzy from the crash, and that's when they see it. The figure standing off to the side of the road. But this time, it's different. This isn't just some random ghost. The figure, this phantom, is dressed in clothes that look old, like someone from a time long past. And in the dim light, the traveler realizes something terrifying. The figure isn't just haunting the highway. It was once a traveler, just like that. Someone who had driven this same road and never made it out. The realization hits them like a punch to the gut. This highway doesn't let people leave. It traps them, the lost souls of those who once traveled these roads, forever bound to. In the distance, more headlights glow, faint, flickering, more souls trapped in this cursed stretch of highway, and the traveler knows they might be the next one to join them. What happened to the others, and could they escape? Or is it already too late? Now, with the terrifying truth sinking in, the traveler knows there's no escape. Their heart races as they slam the gas pedal, desperate to flee. But no matter how fast they drive, no matter how many turns they make, the road doesn't change. It's like the highway itself is alive, twisting and turning, pulling them back into its grasp. Each curve leads them to the same place, an endless, dark stretch of asphalt that loops forever. The headlights flicker, casting long shadows that stretch across the road, making it seem like the road is closing in on them. There's no way out, and then from the darkness ahead, a figure appears. This time, it's not just one. The ghostly figure, the one they swerved to avoid earlier, is standing in front of them again. But this time, there are more dozens, maybe even hundreds, each one a spirit of a traveler, long lost to this cursed highway. The whispers return, louder now, all around them. Your time has come, they say, their voices rising like an eerie chorus, each one calling out their name. The traveler's eyes dart around, seeing faces, twisted, hollow, filled with pain. They're surrounded, trapped by the very souls who were once like them. The traveler tries to fight, swerving the car, but it's no use. The road pulses beneath them, a dark supernatural force that pulls them into its eternal grip. The spirits move closer, their cold fingers reaching out, pulling at the traveler's soul. They feel their strength fading. Every breath gets harder, the air thick with the weight of the lost souls pressing in. Desperation sets in. It's a race for survival. Will they make it out? Or will they become another phantom lost to the road's curse? Or is the road already claiming them? The car jolts to life, the engine roaring, as the traveler slams the gas pedal, speeding away from the chaos. They think they've escaped. The road is clear now. The spirits, but as the car races through the darkened night, there's a feeling, a gnawing, lingering sensation that something still isn't right. Suddenly, from the rearview mirror, the headlights of another car appear, fast, closing in on them. Relief? No, not quite. As the car approaches, the traveler's heart skips a beat. The headlights grow brighter, getting closer, too close. But when they glance in the mirror, there's nothing there. No car, no driver, just empty road. The feeling of being watched comes crashing back. The camera lingers on the road, the empty highway, stretching endlessly. No cars, no signs of life, just that same feeling. The highway is still there, waiting. It never lets go. Will anyone ever survive this haunted stretch of road? Or is it destined to claim everyone who dares to drive down its cursed path? The truth may be even worse than you think. Now, what do you think? Was the traveler truly free, or is the highway always hungry for more? Drop a comment below and let me know what you think really happened. If you want to uncover more dark secrets, hit that subscribe button. And remember, the road is never as empty as it seems.